Hey, how's it going? Jim here at the Pain PT. Good to see you guys today. Today we got evidence of the week again. Evidence of the week, and I've been bringing this to you guys to give you some of the research evidence out there that many of you will not ever see because it's in journals and places where you're not going to look for information. So I'm bringing it all to you each week, some evidence that I find pertinent to recovering from chronic somatic symptoms in the body, chronic pain, other conditions where your brain and nervous system have become implicated, and we're not necessarily working just with the body anymore. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and support the channel if you can. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. And here we go, this week's evidence. The title of today's article is Fearful Thinking Predicts Hypervigilance Towards Pain-Related Stimuli in Patients with Chronic Pain. This was a paper in 2014, okay? And it's going to be around hypervigilance and fearful thinking. So again, I want to combine a couple of things here that I talk about and look at the data around this. So the title again is Fearful Thinking Predicts Hypervigilance. Remember, hypervigilance I talk a lot about is this attentional bias towards your symptoms, focus attention on your pain or on your symptoms when they're there. Okay, so fearful thinking predicts hypervigilance towards pain-related stimuli. So anything that's pain-related stimuli, the brain becomes hypervigilant towards. And they did this study in people with chronic pain and trigeminal neuralgic pain, so facial pain. Okay, and they took 21 patients who were diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia. They also took a similar number of people who were in the control group, healthy controls, no issues, and a similar number of people who were the caregivers of these people. All right. So let me take you through this study here and have a look at this. I'll start from the beginning and some of the introduction here, just to paint the picture here for all of you. Remember, pain can easily capture one's attention, helping the individual to act quickly to prevent further tissue damage. Right? That's what we want with acute pain, right? We want to be able to detect danger and the threat in the body, right? In terms of pain or symptoms where something's wrong, so that we can act quickly or we can get away or we can avoid or we can be alerted to some danger or threat happening in the body. But they go on and say here, as we know, in the presence of chronic pain or chronic symptoms, however, the adaptive response may evolve into a hypervigilance to pain that can disrupt the normal cognitive processes. Patients with chronic pain have been demonstrated to show attentional biases towards pain-related materials, such as words and pictures. So not just towards your symptoms themselves, but remember, the brain learns and it gets wired up now to pay extra attention to anything at all related to the pain. So even words or pictures, any stimuli now that could be directly associated or indirectly associated with your symptoms. This is what happens with the learning in the brain. And again, as you know, as you put that vigilant attention on these things or on your symptoms, what happens is a magnifying glass. I tell everybody, you're just magnifying or accentuating that neural pathway and keeping it activated and potentially keeping your symptoms alive. Okay, they say here that it has been reported that the chronic pain patient group shows selective attention for pictures depicting painful faces. Some research even has found the caregivers of pain patients have biases towards painful faces. So again, what we've learned, what we've been through, what we've been told, what we've experienced, the brain is learning and picking this up, and the brain starts to have more attention towards painful faces, towards the pain or symptom themselves, even the caregivers, right? Because everything becomes heightened. And again, if there's considered danger or threat in the symptoms, you can imagine, yeah, your brain is going to learn to become hypervigilant around the pain or symptoms or any other stimuli. It makes a lot of sense, but as you're going to see here, we need to start to move away from that. So they say here, like even in addition to direct stimulation, indirect stimuli may also draw the attention of subjects who suffer from pain. Okay, so sometimes something that's completely non-related to your pain can get paired up through the learning mechanisms in the brain and get paired with your pain. So that's why people sometimes can be have something very innocuous or very simple happening, very benign, and all of a sudden they end up with pain. It gets paired with the pain and starts to cause more pain in the brain. Okay. And they say your pain patients are particularly sensitive to signals of impending pain, which induce them to attempt to prevent the pain episode. Again, so remember, as you have chronic pain or have had this for a while, your level of sensitivity goes up. We become more sensitive. That's part of this whole protective mechanism in the brain to protect you against threat or danger. So the threat or danger itself can kick off the pain in your body, which then kicks off more protection and threat and danger. Okay, so we can go into greater hypervigilance. We can go into greater sensitivity as the longer we have this pain. And it's sort of a vicious cycle around and around and around. Okay, and we already seen here that there already was an analysis done, a meta-analysis before, meaning looked at many studies that systematically reviewed the studies that examined the attentional biases towards pain-related information and demonstrated significant attentional bias towards signals of impending pain in healthy volunteers. So we can have this even in normal people, okay, as well as the pain group or the people who are suffering with symptoms have it at a higher level. But obviously we are geared up biologically, right, for survival to avoid pain, right, to pay attention to pain, to become vigilant, to become more sensitive around it. That's all part of our protective survival mechanism. But as you guys understand now that chronic pain is not the same thing as acute pain, it's not telling us there's threat or danger anymore, especially not in the body. It's in the brain, okay? And most of it now has been learned from memory, from conditioning, and it's still playing out in our systems. Okay, Dr. Upkarian, some of you may have heard of him. He's a really leading researcher in the field of chronic pain. He's been around for a long time. He says here in this paper that chronic pain is a state of continuous learning in which pain experience is associated with incidental events and coupled with reduced opportunity for extinction of those associations. So again, we were looking for extinction, everybody. We want this to settle down. Extinction means quieting down, calming down, going away. So Dr. Upkarian says, again, chronic pain or chronic symptoms is a state of a continuous learning in which the symptom experience is associated with incidental events, right? So it can be paired up with things that have nothing to really do with causing the pain. It just starts to become more generalized and spread. And then what happens, it gets bigger and bigger, and it becomes harder for the person to have extinction, okay? The system gets more sensitized, as you know, and you can get more sensitive to more things, okay? And they say here that the predictive value of attentional bias towards pain-related information, right? We're looking more towards pain-related information and threat and danger, probably implied that hypervigilance to pain signals plays a crucial role in the development and maintenance of the chronic pain conditions. And that's what we're talking about today. And something I see in people left and right is that this hypervigilance to pain signals or symptom signals in your body, just like they say here, they say it perfectly, plays a crucial role in the development and maintenance of the chronic pain conditions. Let's get to the results of this particular study, okay? So again, they took these people with facial pain here, and they found a few things. Their research yielded three major findings. One, we confirmed and extended previous studies by demonstrating that chronic pain patients displayed attentional biases not only towards the painful facial expressions, but also towards visual cues that signaled unpredictable pain. So it wasn't even just the pain we're talking about here, but painful facial expressions. They had more hypervigilance and bias towards that, but also towards any type of visual cue that signaled unpredictable pain. I mean, their brain was sensitive. Their brain was on alert, on guard, looking for this, looking for threat, looking for danger. Second, the family members of the patients selectively attend to the visual cues that signal pain. Again, so even family members now become attuned to this in a way, and they can also start acting and behaving in similar ways as the patient. And third, the attentional biases towards pain-related stimuli that we observed in patients and their caregivers were positively correlated with measures of fearful thinking about pain in both groups. So this is where we link up the fearful thinking, everybody. If you have a lot of fearful thinking, a lot of worrisome, anxiety, worry, catastrophizing, that's fearful thinking. That was positively correlated with the attentional bias towards pain, or you could say the hypervigilance. So the hypervigilance was linked or correlated with fearful thinking, which makes a lot of sense, right? That the fear, I mentioned this before, the fear or the anxiety, the emotional energy is a driver of this, okay? The emotional energy causes a person to become hypervigilant, okay? And it says of particular importance, our study demonstrated that patients with chronic pain showed an attentional bias towards cues that signal pain. And I mentioned that before in some of the other research that the brain gets wired up to look for threat and danger or cues that signal pain. It's survival, it's protection, but it's not helping us, everybody. It's not accurate. It's inaccurate most of the time. Chronic pain is not acute pain. Okay. We leave you with this last bit of the study here. They say that patients with chronic pain consistently report worries about the causes and consequences of pain due to the stubborn persistence of the discomfort. So again, all of you here, it's normal. It's normal. I want to say this. It's normal that your brain can get like this, that it becomes more fearful, more worried, more concerned, more cautious, more reserved because of the stubborn persistence of the discomfort or pain or symptoms. Not going away. So again, the brain starts to pay attention to it more. You get more sensitive, more hypervigilant, more fear, and this whole thing keeps looping and looping. And they say here that in their study, they used a fear subscale called the PASS 20. And what they found here was that certain items, like for example, when the pain comes on strong, I think that it might become paralyzed or more disabled. Or I think that if my pain gets too severe, it will never decrease. Okay, so they found that patients' negative expectations about their pain correlated significantly with the attentional bias they exhibited towards the pain-associated stimuli. Again, if you have negative expectation to the future, things are going to get worse, you're going to pay more attention to the pain, right? Which is going to keep this thing going. Okay, so they say here in their own words, the authors, and I'll leave you with this today. If the patient thinks that his or her pain will worsen, he or she will pay more attention to pain-related stimuli. The findings from the present study revealed that the attentional biases were independent of pain intensity or duration in the pain group. Okay, so wow, it's not even related to the intensity, but it's more of this emotional, mental idea, right? That if we believe the pain is going to get worse or it's not going to get better, or negative expectation, we're going to pay more attention to it. That was a more important variable than the actual pain intensity itself. And again, they say it here, these results indicate that attentional biases to pain-related stimulus are focused on the negative emotions, such as anxiety or fear, thoughts, catastrophic thinking induced by pain, and are not directly related to physical qualities of pain. That's what I want to leave you with right now. It's more about the mind. It's more about the emotional state, which is the fear and anxiety, and the mental state, which is your catastrophic thinking, than the physical quality of the pain. When we have this anxiety and fear running, and we have negative expectations, we have negative thinking, that's what creates hypervigilance towards the symptoms more than the symptoms themselves. Okay, so that's your take-home message to everybody, that we need to start to reduce. And again, they say here exactly what I say to all of you. We need to training pain patients to shift their attention away from pain-related cues may break the association between pain and random events and thereby disrupt, to some extent, the sustained state of chronic pain. Okay, so I hope it helps all of you today to understand this a little more. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. The take-home message here, like I just said before, is that hypervigilance, which is sustained attentional bias towards symptoms, towards anything related to pain, is driven by negative thinking, catastrophic thinking, and negative emotional states like fear and anxiety. And so we need to reduce all these things, right, to start to have successful healing. So I hope this evidence helps you guys today, evidence of the week. I'll keep it coming to you guys and hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye now.